Hey gang, welcome to Mzansi and USA News. Great news. President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced his GNU cabinet. As you know, just over a month ago, on the 29th of May, we had elections in South Africa. Election results were announced on the 2nd of June. And ever since then, for weeks on end, the president has been negotiating for a government of national unity, a government which he had announced and extended an invitation to all political parties when he accepted the results of the elections. Out of these negotiations, 11 parties have emerged, and those parties are the African National Congress, Democratic Alliance, Patriotic Alliance, Inkatha Freedom Party, Good Party, Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, Freedom Front Plus, United Democratic Party, Al-Jamaa, Rise Mzansi, and the United African Transformation. United Africans Transformation. And I think I have not done favor to UDM. I called it the United Democratic Party. It's a United Democratic Movement. So those parties make up the GNU. This is very important. Not all parties could form part of the GNU. Why? The GNU is made out of parties who committed to respect the Constitution, the rule of law, and to promote accountable, transparent governance, evidence-based policy and decision-making, the professionalization of the public service, integrity, and good governance. Okay, now, I'm going to give you my opinion because the rest of what the president has done, you can find it in his speech. I'm going to give you my analysis here. However, I think before I do that, it would be remiss of me if I do not mention that the president has decided to merge electricity and energy. The Minister of Energy and Electricity have been merged together, and he will separate Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources. The Minister of Agriculture will be separated from the Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development. The Minister of Higher Education will be separated from the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development will be separated from the Minister of Correctional Services. There will no longer be a Ministry for Public Enterprises. The coordination of these will be done by the Office of the Presidency. And then he has decided to obviously then elect or appoint the people that, as I've said, I would list down below in the description. But now here comes my analysis of what the president has done. Right? Now, once the president makes the claims that this is representative of our country and it was absolutely necessary for him to increase the cabinet to accommodate everybody, it is my opinion that this GNU cabinet is a serious compromise at the expense of us as taxpayers. It's bloated. There's too many deputy ministers that should not have been included in this attempt to accommodate all the GNU partners. Once again, there's no value in accommodating all of them. For crying out loud, some of them voted against the president in parliament. What is further concerning is that key strategic ministerial positions were retained by the big brother, that is the ANC. Think about the finance, energy, health, international relations, water and sanitation, home affairs, transport, police and defense, just to name a few. These are very critical ministerial positions that could have been shared with the other partners to give new blood an opportunity to run them so that we can see how South Africa could make progress. There is also an issue of old stock in this cabinet by the president, which should have been allowed to retire gracefully. What am I talking about? Angie Motshekga, Bloated Nzimande, Barbara Chris, Senzo Mchunu, to mention but a few. Why allow Hlabisa to deputize Angie Motshekga, yet Hlabisa is the one who is the real army general? It makes absolutely no sense. Why is Bloated Nzimande still here? Bloated, we need to innovate really, and we require innovative minds, young minds, some people who think out of their feet and sharp. That's what we require right now, not Bloated Nzimande in that ministry. Once again, to prove to you, I'm not criticizing for the sake of it. I'm quite happy, as old as Aaron Motsoaledi is. I believe he is actually worth retaining. because Alon Mzwanele, in my view, is the best minister of the African National Congress in the 6th administration and probably even in the 5th administration. He is a hard worker. He is diligent in what he does. He's an honest individual. He's very effective in his approach, and he's a professional somebody. We need to start appointing people with appropriate skills in other ministries as well, because Mzwanele is a doctor. To appoint him as a minister of health is a good move, and so is Phahla, who is his deputy. He's also a doctor. For example, water and sanitation and transport. A person with an engineering background is required there. You can't be having Majodini there. I mean, what about social development? That's where Majodini was supposed to go. Okay? Now, again, when you talk about the appointment of the IFP, to me, that is spot on. When you're talking about Hlabisa as for Kokta, I'm happy with that. Even Hlengwa as a deputy, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with Siviwe Gwarube. That's a correct pronunciation. She's a fast learner. She's young. And hopefully she will do well. Steenhuisen, look, in my view, it's okay that he's appointed in agriculture, but I believe he could have done better at communications or infrastructure development. Steenhuisen is a sharp, bright, young mind himself. I mean, for crying out loud, I think the young man is about 44 years old. I stand to be corrected, but I think that's his age. For transport, Ntleko could have been, should have been a minister with a young mind like Songezo as a deputy, Songezo from Rise Mzansi. Overall, I could say that the GNU's approach to ANC or to usurp certain positions for the African National Congress, as the president did, is concerning to me. It's concerning why the public enterprises is reporting to the presidency. It's as though they are hiding something. They have no interest of ensuring that these SOEs are working effectively and efficiently. It's concerning that people like Barbara Chris are still being kept. I don't understand why are they still there. They should have been allowed to retire. I've already mentioned this in Njumutsecha. How can I forget Paul Mashatile as a deputy president? This is a guy who stays in a house of 37 million. What happened to the step-aside rule of the African National Congress when people have got such strong allegations against them? You can't be a deputy president and be staying in a house of 37 million. That house is bond on a monthly basis. The installment will be 370,000 rands a month. Where does Paul Mashatile get that amount of money? Consider the fact that since Paul Mashatile started working in 1994, after he came out of prison, there is no way he would have cumulatively been able, with all the posts that he held from MEC up until today, to stay in a house that is worth 370,000 rands a month. Okay? So that is excessive. And obviously it ought to be investigated, not once he is a deputy president, because the next position for him to ascend to is the president of the country. So this is very, very important. I'm disappointed that he was appointed as a deputy president for our government. He should have remained a deputy president of the ANC, and perhaps Velinkosi Hlabisa, because to me Velinkosi Hlabisa is presidential material. His professional etiquette is par excellence. His mannerism is that of a statesman. Nevertheless, let me continue. Paul Mashatile has a scandal of Alexander renewal that has never been resolved. Remember, under Thabo Mbeki's administration as a president, there was billions of rands which were pumped into Gauteng human settlements or Gauteng housing, which was being run by Paul Mashatile, and money funding was supposed to be used in Alex. What happened to the Alex renewal project? This was reported well publicly all over Gauteng, all over South Africa. So what happened to that? Or is the ANC really involved in a false renewal, as we see now with Zizi Kodwa? When will we ever come out of this dark cloud that the African National Congress has dragged our country to? I'm quite disappointed about this. I believe that there are quite good appointments which I've mentioned, but also it's quite bloated. It was done such that to accommodate the oldies of the African National Congress, and also for the African National Congress to play mental gymnastics with us, to say we have a government of national unity, proportional representation, but we're going to increase the portfolios so that we hold more portfolios than everybody else. No, you did not get 50+1. Gone are those days. The public doesn't trust you that you can run this country by yourselves. Be fast learners. Give other people an opportunity to run those ministries, to create employment. If, for an example, in these ministries that the DA has been given, they fail, then South Africans have a good practical lesson of who to vote for next. The African National Congress has been given adequate time at the helm. I'm very much unhappy that strategic positions have been given to the ANC comrades. The only person I'm happy with is Mzwanele, as well as the Minister of Finance. The rest, ministers of the African National Congress, I think they should have been retired. There's no reason why Senzo Mchunu is the Minister of the Police, whilst you have people like Gayton Mackenzie there, whilst you have people like Hlengwa there. There's no reason why Blaine Zimande has been given a ministry. There's no reason why Stella Ndabeni is a minister. There's no reason why. The list can go on and on and on. The African National Congress sees a need to do some payback, and so Ramaphosa has not departed from the chronism, and yet he calls this renewal. It's a bloated cabinet. It's very expensive for us as taxpayers if you consider the benefits these individuals must get. Okay, guys, that's my opinion concerning this. I also believe Gwede Mantashe should not have been a minister. I believe Gwede should have been removed from ministry. How can I forget about him? I just mentioned Paul Mashatile now. How can I forget about Gwede? Gwede also should have been removed as a minister. I'm happy with Nhonso, by the way, because he's an electrical engineer and he's done a sterling job as a minister of electricity. You may not agree with me, but right now we have not road shedded since before the elections. That should count for something. But nevertheless, yeah, I would want to leave it at that. It's a bloated cabinet, and hopefully all the new blood that has been injected will do us good to develop our GDP by more than 3%, because our birth rate is sitting at 2%. You need to develop the GDP far more than your birth rate if you are going to create sustainable and meaningful employment. Okay, guys, those are my views concerning that. Up until the next video, ciao, ciao. Bye for now.